Hello, everyone. I'm Aladdin Al Kathiri. I am the commercial real estate director at Samson Properties. And today's Tuesday, December 2nd. We are down. It feels like winter. We're getting rain here. We had some ice this morning in Virginia, and there's snow across the country. So I hope you're all warm and snuggly today and staying dry, and most of all, staying safe. I'm recording this today because I just had to say something about some things that I've seen. I'm just going to say it and then I'll build upon that. Listen, just because one has a podcast does not make one an expert. Okay? Distinguishing genuine expertise from confident salesmanship is genuinely difficult when you're starting out in investing. So I want to share some practical ways to evaluate someone claiming commercial real estate expertise. Right? Maybe they don't say it, but if someone takes the mission to help you with your commercial real estate investment, they should be an expert. All right? So here's how you can vet someone. One, look at their track record over time. Real experts have verifiable experience across different market conditions, not just success during boom times when everything goes up. Ask specific questions. How many properties have they bought? Over what time period? What were their actual returns? And can they discuss deals that didn't work out and what they learned from those deals that didn't work out? Now, hold on. Just because the answers to those questions are good, that still doesn't make the person an expert. Okay? You want to pay attention to how they handle uncertainty and risk. Non-experts tend to make investing sound simple, and they downplay risks. A real expert readily acknowledges what he or she does not know. They'll discuss potential downsides and explain how market conditions could change their assumptions. If someone guarantees or makes it sound foolproof, that's a red flag. Right? Make sense? So another thing, test their depth of knowledge. Ask follow-up questions about specific scenarios or mechanics. A true expert can explain concepts in multiple ways, and gets more detailed when pressed. Someone who's memorizing talking points will struggle when you go off script or when you ask about edge cases. Check if they have skin in the game. Do they invest their own money using strategies they're recommending to you? Or are their interests aligned with yours? Or do they mainly profit from fees, commissions, or they're selling courses? See if their advice is tailored to you and your specific situation. Experts will ask you about your financial situation, about your goals, about your risk tolerance before recommending anything. Non-experts tend to push one-size-fits-all solutions or whatever product they're selling. Or they're just going after the commission. They're very transactional. Look for intellectual honesty. Do they update their views when new information emerges? Can they articulate why other approaches might work for different people? Do they admit when they're speculating versus when they're confident? It's also worth remembering that even genuine experts can be wrong. And that expertise in one market or strategy doesn't automatically transfer to others. Starting with small positions while you learn and getting multiple perspectives helps protect you while you develop your own judgment. So what is an expert? An expert commercial real estate advisor is an experienced professional who specializes in providing strategic advice and guidance to investors, businesses, and developers looking to buy, sell, lease, or invest in commercial properties. They act as a trusted consultant who goes beyond the simple transaction to help clients achieve their financial and business goals. Unlike a transactional real estate, and that's most real estate agents, unlike a transactional real estate agent, an expert advisor offers in-depth research and strategic insights to maximize returns while minimizing risk. Right? So what are some of the key roles and responsibilities we're talking about? An expert commercial real estate advisor plays a multifaceted and indispensable role throughout the entire commercial real estate process, right? Not just get the transaction closed, get the commission, and boom, they're off and you never hear from them again until it's time to sell again or until it's time to move again, right? They're looking at market analysis and forecasting all the time. They conduct thorough market research, staying informed on current trends, property values, vacancy rates, and emerging opportunities to help clients make well-informed decisions. They're looking at financial and property evaluation. They perform in-depth financial analysis, including cash flow projections and return on investment calculations to determine a property's viability and suitability for a client's specific business needs. They look at negotiation and deal structuring. They act as skilled negotiators, advocating for their client's best interest to secure favorable terms regarding the purchase agreement and the lease terms. Due diligence. They scrutinize legal documents. That means they have to actually read the documents, right? Not just fill out a standardized form, filling in the blanks, right? They scrutinize legal documents, financial records, and property history to ensure clients are fully aware of any potential risks or liabilities before finalizing a deal. They're strategic planners. They develop custom strategies for asset optimization, for portfolio management, and or diversification to reduce risk and enhance long-term returns. We're talking about expertise. So how do you discern a true expert? An expert advisor can be distinguished from a non-expert or a mere salesperson. I'm sorry, not a mere salesperson. From an expert advisor can be distinguished from a non-expert or a salesperson by several key characteristics and practices. Let's look at a few. Again, I mentioned verifiable track record. They have verifiable experience across different market conditions. So if they've only been in the market for one cycle, they're not an expert. They're lucky, maybe, right? Or something else. They're not just, they don't just have experience during a boom time. They can discuss deals that didn't work and what they learned from that deal that didn't work. They practice intellectual honesty. They have an understanding of risk management. They readily acknowledge what they don't know. They discuss potential downsides and explain how market conditions could change, right? And how market conditions could change their assumptions. A red flag is someone who guarantees returns or makes investing sound simple. Remember that. They have a depth of knowledge. They can explain complex concepts multiple ways, right? And get more detailed when pressed. Someone who is only using memorized talking points, and believe me, this happens, they're going to struggle when you ask them about, edge cases or when there's some off script scenarios, perhaps you might ask, right? They can give you, or not can, they will give you tailored advice, right? How do they do that? Well, they're going to ask about your specific financial situation, your specific goals and risk tolerances before recommending anything, right? You want to buy a property or lease a space, right? They're not just going to send you a list of spaces. That's transactional. That's for them. It's not for you. I should say that benefits them, doesn't benefit you necessarily. Non-experts also will tend to push one-size-fits-all solutions. There should be an alignment of interests, right? The expert commercial real estate advisor invests their own money using the strategies they recommend, ensuring their financial interests are aligned with yours, rather than mainly just profiting from commission or fees. Here's one I'm not really that in love with, but I'll say it. Sometimes there's some professional recognition. There are many industry designations, for example, CCIM or SIOR. You'll see agents with these letters behind their names, and that's all good, right? That means they took some classes, they followed some process, and they got the right to wear a badge or earn a certification. I'm not knocking any of those organizations or the recognition that those organizations provide. But just because you have a PIN doesn't mean you're an expert, right? So, question you might ask, shouldn't a commercial real estate investor, right, like yourself, seek advice from a financial advisor before investing? I put that in there on purpose because I think you should, right? So the answer to it is yes. A commercial real estate investor absolutely should seek advice from a financial advisor, especially one who is experienced with real estate investments. While a commercial real estate advisor provides expertise on the property, and the transaction, a financial advisor ensures the investment aligns with your overall wealth, your overall financial goals, and your overall tax strategy, right? The roles are complementary, and you benefit most when they work together as part of your investment team. But let's look at the roles of each. So let's start with the commercial real estate advisor. Their primary focus is the property and the deal. Their key responsibilities are at the micro level or at the transactional level, right? They're thinking about or talking about deal negotiation, securing the best purchase or lease terms, property evaluation, assessing a property's condition, the income generating capabilities, and the potential risks. If those aren't in the conversation, red flag. Every property has a risk. Every investment has risks. Also, market research. They're analyzing market trends. Do they know the market you're interested in? Right? Ask about that before let's work together. Find out what their knowledge is about the market, right? Property values, not just the last 3 comps in the same zip code that might have sold that looked similar, right? Ask about that. They might give you a comp, but why did this comp sell for a 5 cap rate versus a 6 cap rate? Why? Why did that buyer pay this amount for the property on the comp when my own underwriting said they could be paying this, right? Why? They should be able to articulate that to you, right? And be able to explain it where it makes sense, right? And I left out vacancy rates. Of course, they need to know the vacancy rates, right? A jack of all trades not going to know that, or they'll go to some source like CoStar or some other source, which are good sources, but they're not complete sources. And just looking at someone else's data doesn't explain why, right? So it's not good enough. A financial advisor, on the other hand, is looking, they're focused on your complete financial picture. And they have a more macro level or strategic focus, right? They're thinking about tax planning. They're navigating tax laws, optimizing tax breaks, for example, depreciation, and advising on strategies like 1031 exchanges to minimize tax impact. They're focused on, or they're talking about portfolio diversification to ensure that the commercial real estate investment does not expose you to too much risk and that your wealth is balanced across various assets. Maybe you have stocks and bonds and other areas of investment, right? Your financial advisor is going to look at that whole picture and advise you as to what you should be looking for in commercial real estate, or how what you're looking for will affect your overall portfolio. They're seeking goal alignment. They want to make sure that the investment, the real estate investment, aligns with your long-term objectives, with your risk tolerances, and or with your retirement plans. Now, a lot of new investors may not know what their risk tolerance is or what their long-term objectives are or should be, right? So this is the value of a financial advisor. Go to them first, have that conversation, get some clarity about what you're trying to do, or whether what you want, if what you want to do makes sense with, and is aligned with your long-term strategy. They're looking at debt structuring. They're assessing your financial landscape and guiding you toward optimal financing and leverage options that align with your long-term goals. So you need both perspectives. While a commercial real estate advisor can tell you if a property is a good real estate deal, for example, high projected return on investment, only a financial advisor can tell you if it's a good deal for your specific financial life. For example, a financial advisor can help you answer critical questions that a commercial real estate advisor may not focus on, such as tax impact, right? We're not tax experts. Commercial real estate brokers and advisors, we're not tax experts, right? You want to know, if I sell my current investment property, what is the potential tax impact? And how can I legally defer or minimize my capital gains taxes? That's a tax question, right? And I hear often folks say, hey, I'm not a tax expert, and then they give you tax advice. Here's what I would do. So what, you just disguise it? No, come on, no. Beware. You want to know, the financial advisor is going to help you with the big picture. Does this large investment concentration in one asset class or one geographic region increase my overall financial risk? Right? Retirement. How does the cash flow from this property fit into my retirement withdrawal strategy 15 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 5, whatever that is? So the commercial real estate advisor focuses on the performance of the asset, so they should know how to do that. And the financial advisor focuses on the performance of your net worth. So ideally, you would seek a financial advisor who specializes in real estate investing to get the best of both worlds. And your best commercial real estate advisor is not afraid of the financial advisor. They want to connect with them. They want to understand what that conversation is, right? We want to stay in our lane, right? Whereas there are many real estate agents who they're afraid to have you talk to an attorney. They're afraid to have you talk to a financial advisor because they're transactional. They're just looking for commission, right? Or fee, whatever that is, right? So how should one assess expertise, right? Right? Makes sense? Reasonable question you should be asking, right? To assess a commercial real estate investor's true area of expertise, you need to look beyond a polished sales pitch and focus on their verifiable history, their specific knowledge, and their alignment with your interests. You need to scrutinize their track record and experience. The most important factor is the breadth and depth of their history in the market, right? You want experience across cycles. So ask for their performance history over a significant period, 7 to 10 years. If you've only been in the market, if you've only been doing this business for 2, you probably can't be an expert. Maybe you can, but right? Again, that's not exclusive. Sometimes you can be. It depends on other factors, of course. But an expert should have experience navigating both rising markets and downturns or recessions. You don't have to have lived them. You don't have to be 50 years old, right? You can study. You can study what happened. You can have an understanding of that and be able to explain that, right? Or they should be able to do that. An expert should have experience navigating both rising markets and downturns or recessions. So you want to ask, how did your portfolio perform in, let's say, 2008 to 2009, or during the recent interest rate hikes, right? What did you do during the recent interest rate hikes, like say from 2022 to present, right? How did you, tell me about some of your clients or some of the transactions during these times, right? They should be able to talk about those and articulate their experience. They have quantifiable results. Don't accept vague arguments. Request specific, measurable data. The total number of transactions or total square footage advised on. Or the average annualized return on closed deals. So you closed that deal, what's it look like now? What was the average annualized return, right? Internal rate of return or return on investment, whatever metrics you use. They should be able to discuss failures. Experts fail at some point during their careers. You know, part of your experience comes from understanding and learning from the failures. A true expert will admit to losses or deals that didn't perform as expected. And more importantly, explain the specific actionable lessons they learned from those events. A professional who claims a perfect record is often a non-expert. You want to test their foundational and technical knowledge. Now, this is important. A genuine expert can explain complex scenarios simply and handle detailed questions easily. Go deep on specialties. If they claim to specialize, for example, in multifamily or industrial or medical office, whatever that is, ask technical questions specific to that asset class. For example, for an apartment investor, what is the typical CapEx budget per door for a Class B property in the in a particular submarket that you're looking at, right? Typical because it's going to vary. They should know. It's not a guess. You know, it's not. You want to ask questions. They should be able to handle what if scenarios. So ask them to analyze how a sudden negative event like a major tenant vacating or a change in zoning laws or say a spike in property taxes. How would any of those things or these things impact the proposed investment's financial model? Did they actually model out the investment? Did they underwrite it? Right? Analyze their vocabulary. Experts use financial metrics. They're using cap rates, internal rate of return, cash on cash return correctly. And they can seamlessly articulate the difference between those various financial analyses. So be wary of those who only discuss gut feelings or simple appreciation or vagaries or generalities, and determine their alignment of interests. The way an advisor is compensated speaks volumes about whose interests they serve. That makes sense? Skin in the game. Ask if they invest their personal capital alongside their clients in deals they recommend. Sometimes that's an option, sometimes it's not, but it's a good question. When an advisor puts their own money on the line, their interests are inherently aligned with yours. Ask about the compensation structure, right? Investigate their fee model. Are they compensated primarily by a large upfront commission or transaction fee, or is their pay tied to the long-term performance of the asset? And this might apply more in the when you're investing with someone else, right, or a group, right, or like a syndication or something like that, right? Is their fee pay tied to the long-term performance of the asset? For example, a small annual management fee and maybe a percentage of the profit upon sale, something like that, for example. Performance-based compensation indicates a focus on long-term success. Tailored advice. An expert should ask you extensive questions about your specific financial situation, your specific risk tolerance, and your specific long-term goals before recommending any specific deal. If they push a hot property or a can't miss opportunity right away, they're likely selling, they're not advising, right? Unless, of course, they've had this conversation before they're pushing a property. Maybe they know what you're looking for and this might be the one. That's different. You want to evaluate their professional network and their integrity. Let's talk about network first. Ask about the professionals they work with. Which lenders do you work with? Which real estate attorneys do you work with? Property managers, appraisers, etc. Architects, right? Space planners, right? Who's your due diligence team, right? An expert should have a robust network of other high quality specialists that they can introduce to you, right? You want honesty about risk. An expert should never guarantee a return. They will present a spectrum of outcomes. Best case, maybe, base case, and worst case. I like to go more specific than that, more like a Monte Carlo simulation type of thing. But they should be able to discuss every known risk with an intellectual honesty. If they make the investment sound risk-free, walk away, right? So this is, look, the commercial real estate market is built on massive opportunity, but it's also littered with complex risks. Your financial success is ultimately going to be determined by not just by the quality of the deal, but by the quality of your team. Remember that expert is a title that must be earned and continuously re-earned through verifiable results and honest alignment with your goals, right? I did great 20 years ago. Right now I'm back in the business. Well, that's not fresh, right? Gotta get fresh. So as the CEO of your own investment portfolio, choose your partners with the same rigor you would use for a multi-million-dollar acquisition. So now it's time to put those principles to the test. If you're serious about partnering with advisors who have the verifiable track record, the technical depth, and the proven alignment of interests, right, to secure your success, then stop looking for an advisor and start partnering with the expert. So I invite you to reach out to us, to me. I'm Aladdin Al-Kathiri and the Aladdin Group. Reach out to me today, right? I don't just teach the principles of true expertise. We live them. And we're ready to show you how our expertise, right, and our skin in the game philosophy can empower your next major commercial real estate investment. So contact me at the Aladdin Group now to schedule your strategic consultation and begin building your lasting real estate wealth. I'm Aladdin Al-Kathiri, Director of Commercial Real Estate at Samson Properties. Reach out to me. Google us, find us, reach out to me. Thanks for watching, and best wishes to you.